All right, so we're going to talk about how to get property list data off of your server. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to make a property list file, which I'm sure many of you have already done before. And then we're going to take that same file and then we're going to put it up on the server and we're going to use that data. Now we could use this as fallback data in case like there's no internet connection or something like that. But ideally, all the properties come off of the server, and that's how you could do something like, well, if you're watching me on the new Cartoon Smart Apple TV app, I mean that's how that runs. I'm not going to Apple every time I want to add a video and go through the whole review process because I think even they would agree that's completely unnecessary. Okay, essentially you give them the wrapper for your app, and then you're just going to provide the data. As you've got, as it comes to you. And that could be every day, right? They don't want to see the same app every day. Okay, so this is going to work with any, Swift or Swift 3, Swift 4 project. But I've got a SpriteKit game here. Not even a game. It's just a SpriteKit project. But all this code is going to work in a non-SpriteKit environment. Okay, so just keep that in mind too. And I've got two different functions to do this. They both do the exact same thing. One of them is much simpler than the other one. And I'm just going to kind of run through the code in here. I'm not going to type it out because I think that's going to take a little bit too much time. But basically, here's where the property list is right now. It's on my server, okay? And it's the same thing I've got over here, all right, which just has one key and value in here. It just says test, and it works, okay? So what we do is we write guard let URL, and just from this bit right here, we're going to know whether or not we're connected to the internet, or if your server is not connected to the internet. Let's put it that way. One of those two things, if they go wrong, then what's inside of here runs. Okay, and that means that we're just going to return out of everything if there's a failure. Okay, so this code right down here, none of this that's highlighted is going to run if there's a problem. Okay. And you'll see it here, not connected to the internet, right? All right, but otherwise, hey, everything's going good, and we've got this URL, and what we're going to do is we're going to put in here if let dict, so we're going to create this new variable dict, and it's going to be an NS dictionary type, and it's going to be the contents of that URL as, okay, string any. Okay, now remember this whole thing is what we're looking for first. All right, we're just going to get a dictionary out of everything. It's going to be our entire dictionary. So you can see that we've got this root key over here that is a string type, and then the dictionary can have values of any kind. All right, so that's where that string any comes in, string any. All right, and then if you've never parsed through a property list before, this is probably not the best video to watch to do that, because I'm only going to show you guys this one little example here. But basically, we're going to just see what the value of test is. So we're going to iterate through the dictionary. Okay, so we say for key value in dict. If for some reason you didn't need one of these, you could always put an underscore over here. But most likely, you're going to want to know the value, right? So we're going to say if key equals test, okay? And again, there's that test right over there. And then usually what you're going to want to do is make sure that the value is definitely of a specific type, okay? So what I've done is I've just said if let some string, string type, equals value as, okay, so that's kind of a question mark, like, hey, this could fail, let's hope it doesn't, but if it doesn't, then what we're going to do is we're going to print out the string, but most likely what you would do is make some other variable, my var equal to some string at that point. So that might be something that you've declared up here, like var, my var, string, right? And then you could just, just to get it started, just put nothing in there, right? So that's perfectly fine. That would work. And you'll also notice too, though, I went ahead and set up an entire dictionary over here. So if you did want to save this dictionary, right, what you can do is you could say entire dict equals dict, okay? And again, since this is declared, we can use it outside of any functions. We could test it later on. We could say something like if entire dict.count, is greater than 0. That would mean that it actually has some data inside of it, right? All right, and that actually does it for the first method, let's go ahead and test it. And this will run fine in the simulator. As most of you guys know, I hate the simulator, mostly because people will get a hold of my projects and they go, yeah, I ran it in the simulator, and you go, well, the simulator is not the best place to test, fast running physics. All right, so you can see what we're getting over here is that it works, okay, and that is perfect. All right, now remember, we didn't print out the entire dictionary. We could have, though. We just are printing out whatever some string equals. All right, so there's an alternate way of doing this. which gets into some, well, some alternate facts. It's the same thing, but it's going to go through a lot more hoops. Okay, so get server property list alternate, right? All right, now this is going to look the same. But what we've got here is we're creating this URL session, shared data, blah, 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 with URL. All right, so there's the URL. And basically, I think the advantage here is that we can do other things while this is going on. And also, I'm pretty sure that all the data has come to us when we've done these successful bits over here. All right, and that even doesn't sound right because I haven't had any problems using this one. But anyway, let's just go with it, right? All right, so I'll step you through here. This first block, this is what happens if something went wrong. Okay, so it's going to tell you print didn't work. It'll try to describe the error over here. And now, if anything you do inside of here, and you'll notice that this code appears 3 times, this dispatch queue. Since this is not running on the main thread, if you're going to want to update the interface or anything like that, like some of the UI, then you need to go back to the main thread to do that. It doesn't like you interrupting all that stuff on a sub thread, right? So, and you can read the notes over here that I put for that. So basically, we're going to call another function that says unsuccessful parse. Okay, we don't know what happened here, but it didn't go well, all right? And again, that appears 2 times. So there's this else statement over here, and then, this is our successful stuff, and then here's another catch where it, again, it didn't go too well, all right? And print out the error, right? All right, but let's assume everything did go well, and let's take a look at essentially what this was doing as well. All right, so let data, it's going to try to get the data, contents of the URL, and then we can put in here self.entireDict is going to equal, and then it just says try property list serialization dot property list from data. There's no options in here. Formats nil as. Okay, so there's that string any again. And then again, move kind of out of this back to the main thread for pretty much, I'd say, anything that you want to do with it, right? Get back to the main thread. And then again, yep, here's that error again. And so you just got to kind of cap this all off by writing resume. And I don't know if I can get all of this on the screen at once. Let's see. It's a little tough. Granted, I've got some spaces in here, but let's see. Guess I don't need 2 lines of notes. Well, I think you can just barely make it, right? There's that. Okay, so just remember, you can kind of pause it on your own. Take a mental screenshot. All right, let's take a look at what we might want to do if this did not succeed. So here's our unsuccessful parse. You do have to put self in front of this if it's going to appear inside of, actually I think anywhere inside of here you got to put self if you're going to reference anything outside of the function, these main, whatever, this stuff, including this function over here. All right, so here's our function for when things don't go well. First thing we're going to want to do is just test to see if the entire dictionary already has a value. The reason I would suggest that is like maybe you've run this a few times in the same app. When you go to one menu, go back to another, you might want to refresh the data. So if it's already there, don't worry about re-getting it. Otherwise, here's our else statement in here. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to grab the path basically to where the one that you originally created was inside the app, and obviously this would be packaged up when you did submit it to Apple. So this could, obviously this wouldn't be the most recent version of the file, but at least it's a version of it. Okay, so if everything else failed, you can at least go get your properties plist file from that. And of course, again, this is an NS dictionary of string any, and at that point you just make entire dict equal to dict, and then you can print that guy out, and there you have it. All right, so that's how you get the property list from a server.